I spent $500,000 last month in February, and I saw a big decline. My cost per calls went from 270 to around 330, 340 per call, which is a lot for my sales team of 10 people. And, even so, regardless of how much you're spending, seeing these small integers during February is actually understandable. I'm going to explain to you what happened and why this happens every year and how you can bypass it as much as possible. Okay, a lot of this is due to a lot of the post-holiday customer fatigue. A lot of money is injected into the economy, especially in November during Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and then December for Christmas, and then the New Year's. Also, a lot of money is spent in January, believe it or not, which you might understand, but everybody does the whole New Year, New Me crap. Okay, this happens in January, which is all this consumer spending happening within 3 months. No other month out of the entire year does that much spending actually occur. We can argue that, June, July, August, a lot of money spent because on summer vacations or getting ready for winter getaways. But little do you realize that there's still not enough spent during those whole 3 months. There is more spend during Black Friday than there is the whole 3 months of summer combined. That is how insane holiday shopping is. And consumer spending is going through the roof year over year over year. I believe I saw that over $90 billion was spent during Black Friday, and over 60% of it was financed. Apps like Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna, right? We can go all day. 60% of the spending in Q4 was done using those applications. People's buying power, you might think, is going up, but people are willing to go broke to buy shit they really don't need to impress people they don't even like. And they don't even know, right? So then it comes to you as that business owner when February hits, there's this fatigue or cool off period. Last year we saw a decline in February. Year before we saw a decline in February. Booked calls, no show rates, revenue per lead. The CAC went up during February, and then March 1st, near March 1st to March 4th is where we start to see that little kickback, right? Also, going into the end of February, it is a shorter month. Keep this in mind. Businesses are getting their taxes. They're getting their bills for their taxes. They're finishing up with their accountants. They're sending out all their 1099s. They're getting HR requests. On top of that, February is a short month, so business owners are paying payroll twice with a 3-day breakage. Right, just like myself, I had to pay payroll on the 15th. I got to pay it on the 30th, which doesn't exist in February, so I'm forced to pay it out on the 28th going into March. So as these expenses climb for business owners, they just don't want to spend a little bit of money this month. They want to retract. They want to rebuild. They just get hit with their tax bill and payroll twice. Okay. Also, on top of that, all of the customer fatigue in Q4 was driven through advertising. That means that Q4 advertising raised CPMs faster than ever. This happens every year. Now there's that cool off period during January, right? January start to kick ass because all the holiday shopping stuff dies down. January's great, all the New Year, New Me, and then it just halts. And that's where the February lull comes into play as people decide to chill out and CPMs start to cool down towards the end of Q1. Also through Q4, you've had a lot of creatives running towards the end of the year. You want to get as much business and customers as possible to hit your 2025 goals, which means that you need to have a creative refresh going into January, February. If you don't do that, you're going to see a heightened, cost per 1,000 impressions, which is your CPMs. You're going to see, lower CTRs, higher CPCs. You're trying to go broad, letting Andromeda do all the targeting for you. Little do you realize you let all those creatives run because of how much data they got because of all the consumer spending. Also, there was a lot of algorithmic volatility, okay? A lot of budgets were being spent very fast during the day in Q4. A lot of budgets were not even being spent at all. When competition is rising on the feed, sometimes your slower budgets and lower budgets can be left behind, which gets you to the bottom feeder avatar, okay? It's not this thing of like a monopoly, but it's very simple. If a brand goes into Q4 spending $40,000, $50,000 a day on ads to pump out all their holiday stockage, odds are your $100 a day in coaching ads didn't go very far. And that volatility now causes a lot of advertisers to shut their ads off. And now all these holiday e-com based offers start climbing on the feed, increasing CPMs drastically. Because CPMs on e-com are usually lower than coaching and high ticket services. But when e-com comes into play, when you have increased CPMs on e-com, you likely are going to have increased CPMs on high ticket coaching and consulting and course based offers. And here's how, if you haven't fixed these yet, you're going to be able to tackle this month of March with better attribution. Number one is going to be checking your 3-day time frames. As we get out of February and the February lull and the increased CPMs, you have to realize that it is time to refresh your creatives. Look on a 3-day basis, not a 1-day basis. Look at how your ads have performed the last 3 days, and you will start to see that trajectory or that trend in the right direction. If you don't, cut those creatives and refresh them immediately. 2 is look at new opportunities for hooks that would pertain to Q1 buying behaviors. Also, check your CTRs, see if they have decreased. If your CTRs have decreased, it's time to refresh your creatives as well. Next is to review your attribution. If your attributions on a 7-day clicker view are starting to see declines, you're starting to get stuck in Learning Limited, it is time to refresh those ad sets, even when the drama to pumping through the end of Q4 of last year, going into Q1 right now. And lastly, consolidate campaigns. You've been spending a lot of money in Q4. You spent a lot of money during the new year, new me phase, which was January. But now that we're seeing heightened CPMs in February, check for audience overlap, as some of those audiences, while you're trying to ramp up and get excited for the new year, could be overlapping each other, causing you to pay twice for the same click on the same audiences. Check your frequencies. Make sure your frequencies are not hiking up above 4 or 5. You always want to check your frequency too to see, how many times your ad is being seen by that same avatar on average. Frequencies, while they're not insanely accurate, they give you a good idea of how much you have squeezed out of the current market. So I hope this video was good reassurance for you. You probably spent money last month. If you did, this must have resonated with you. Don't worry, March and then April and then obviously May start to get really, really good going into those summer months. Okay, you can look at this too, because sometimes October can be a little slow. October tends to be a little bit slow, and then we kick ass in November, and then we kick ass in December, right? So keep those things in mind as you roll into October. Also, I have seen some slower weeks in August because kids are getting ready for school. Kids are going away for school. Parents are getting their kids all their school supplies. They're getting their tuition bills. Parents are signing up for loans, co-signing, all this stuff that's happening during the summer. Also, trips are being made in August. Traveling in August, one of the most expensive months out there. So August can tend to be a pain in the ass too. So be on the lookout for that and get your sales team ready. So appreciate you watching today's video. If you did, please subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.